Here's a shocking statistic. In the time it takes to listen to this episode, over 100 car accidents will happen across America. Most people have no idea what to do when they're in one, and that confusion can cost them dearly.
That's terrifying when you think about it. How prepared are most people for handling an accident?
Well, studies show that while the average driver will experience 3 to 4 accidents in their lifetime, less than 20% have any real plan for what to do when it happens. Let me share something from my own experience that really drives this home.
Oh, please do. Personal stories always help make these situations more relatable.
So there I was, hands shaking on the steering wheel after a fender bender, and you know what I did? Immediately apologized to the other driver, which turns out to be one of the biggest mistakes you can make legally.
That's such a natural human response, though. Why exactly is apologizing such a problem?
Well, here's the fascinating legal aspect. Even saying "I'm sorry" can be interpreted as an admission of fault in court. Insurance companies have entire teams of lawyers who look for these seemingly innocent statements to use against you.
That really highlights how important it is to have a mental checklist ready before anything happens. What should be at the top of that list?
The first crucial steps happen in those initial moments after impact. You need to check for injuries, ensure you're in a safe location, and, this is key, resist the urge to move vehicles if there's significant damage or injuries.
Speaking of injuries, I've heard that adrenaline can mask pain for hours or even days after an accident.
Exactly. And here's something most people don't realize. Insurance companies track the time between an accident and when you seek medical attention. Even waiting 24 hours can significantly impact your claim. Studies show that about 40% of accident victims who initially decline medical attention end up developing symptoms within a week.
That timing element is fascinating. What other time-sensitive aspects should people be aware of?
Documentation is absolutely critical in those first few minutes. Your smartphone becomes your most powerful tool. You want photos of everything? Vehicle damage, license plates, insurance cards, driver's licenses, and even the surrounding area. Here's a pro tip that most people miss. Take video of the entire scene while walking around it.
Well, that makes so much sense. Video can capture details you might not think to photograph. What about dealing with the other people involved?
This is where things get really interesting. Research shows that the tone of those initial interactions can significantly impact how smoothly the claims process goes. You want to be professional but distant, kind of like a business transaction. Exchange information but avoid discussing fault or details of what happened.
That must be challenging when emotions are running high. How do you recommend people stay focused?
Here's a technique used by emergency responders, the 3-breath rule. Take 3 deep breaths before speaking or acting. It gives your brain those crucial seconds to switch from emotional to logical thinking. But, and this is important, while you're doing this, start your documentation process.
The whole insurance aspect seems incredibly complex. What surprises people most about dealing with insurance companies?
You know what's fascinating? Insurance companies have actually studied the psychology of accident victims. They know people are most vulnerable and likely to accept low settlements in the first 72 hours. That's why they often push for quick decisions. Their data shows they save an average of 40 to 60% on claims settled within the first 3 days.
Those numbers are staggering. How do people protect themselves from this?
This is where professional legal help becomes crucial. Studies show that accident victims who work with attorneys receive settlements averaging 3.5 times higher than those who don't. But here's the thing most people don't realize. It's not just about getting more money, it's about understanding the full scope of what you're entitled to.
What kinds of compensation do people typically overlook?
Well, beyond immediate medical bills and vehicle damage, there's lost wages, future medical treatments, diminished earning capacity, and even impact on quality of life. Research indicates that about 60% of accident victims who handle claims themselves miss at least 2 major categories of compensation they're legally entitled to.
This whole conversation really drives home how complex these situations can be. What's the most important takeaway for our listeners?
Here's what everyone needs to remember. In those crucial moments after an accident, your actions can have implications lasting years. Stay calm, document everything, seek medical attention, and don't go through it alone. The decisions you make in those first few hours can affect your health, finances, and legal rights for years to come.
That's such valuable advice, though I hope none of our listeners ever need to use it.
Well said. Knowledge is power, especially in situations where clear thinking is compromised. Drive safe, everyone, and remember, preparation is your best protection.